So at the beginning of the lesson, I would just like to ask you, so where do you see your chess right now? And are you happy with your current level? So anyone who wants to speak can raise hand and we can start like that. Kirtan?
Can you repeat what you said, because it was breaking up?
Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it clear?
Yes, it's more clear.
Okay. Now, I was asking as a way to start for us today, I would just like to ask you, where are you right now in your chess? And are you happy with your current level? So whoever wants to start speaking can raise their hand. And then after that, we'll start into this new month's lessons. I hope you could hear me when I Kirtan?
I think I'm in the intermediate phase of chess, but I'm not too happy with my level of chess. I want to push it more.
Okay, that's a good desire. You want to push it more. Very good. Okay. Anyone else wants to share? I'll take up the question again. Bongo Letu.
I feel happy about my chess because I've improved a lot, but I need to push more.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And Ethan? Ethan Masikana, can you hear me?
Sorry, I was lagging a bit. I'm not really happy with my chess. My performance hasn't been the best, so I need to improve on how I see the board.
Okay. All right. Well, at least the one thing that I hear that is quite in common is the three of you here want to improve your chess. Some of you are happy with your level, but some of you are not happy. You want to continue pushing. You want to continue working hard. So it makes sense what we are learning in our lessons this month, the lessons that we have planned, which is all about boosting your chess with tactics. There is a very famous chess quote that says, chess is 99% tactics. And of course, this is a very big statement, but it has some truth to it. Basically, what I understand about this is that 9 out of 10 games, the person that wins is better at tactics. So one of the ways that you can become a strong chess player is to know tactical patterns, learn to calculate well, and also try to find combinational vision, which is very, very important to be able to see combinations. And I'll explain some of these things as we work towards this. But before we go any further, Zoom. All right, so let's go to ChessBase. Clear all the things that are not necessary, and then we can begin. Okay. All right. So this position is not part of our lesson. We'll just clear this. We need an empty board. So tactics are very important in chess. And that is where we want to start, first of all, with our lesson goals. So our lesson goals for today. Number one, what are tactics? This is important to know. Number two, how can you find tactics? Right, so what you should already know before the lesson. before the lesson. Okay. So, what are tactics? In your own words, what are tactics? Okay, Kirsten?
I think tactics are like finding ways to attack the opponent, like if you're in a stuck position, and also like knowing basic stuff and basic strategy.
Okay, thank you, Ethan. Kirsten, sorry. Ethan, what do you think are tactics? What are tactics in chess? Ethan Masikana, you can hear me? Okay, Bongo Letu, what do you think are tactics? To your own understanding.
I think tactics, in my understanding, it's a move that you make that brings or when you gain something like a material or something.
Okay, moves that help you to gain material. Okay, thank you, Bongo Letu. Ethan, what do you think are tactics in chess? Is the internet breaking up there, Ethan? Can you not hear? Yes, Ethan, please speak. Don't have to raise hand when your name is called out.
I'm sorry, my computer was lagging a bit. Tactics, I think, is it's basically like a puzzle, and you try to see what's there, and that's you're in a position that can benefit from what you do, so it can do something like going to get you can get a checkmate or capture a piece or something like that.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. Thank you. So, okay, there's a few interesting things that you guys have said, what you understand about tactics. So certainly, so we do need to know what tactics are. So when we talk about tactics, these are tools. Think of them as tools. Tactics are tools that help you to gain some advantage in the game. So this is if you want a textbook meaning of tactics that you can understand, it's simple, it's easy, it will help you to know what tactics are. Because before you can become a super player in tactics, is this basic training on boosting your tactics. We'll cover at least the most important things. Of course, we can't cover everything, but there will be other advanced lesson planned later on. But for now, what we'll try to focus on, particularly in this lesson, is to take your level of tactics from one level to the next level. This is the goal that I have in mind for you, that by the end of this, all these lessons, the 4 lessons, your understanding of tactics will be much higher, and you start to see your tactics more and more during your games. Now, tactics are very easy if you work hard. They are difficult because you have to think a lot, you have to memorize some things, you have to calculate, you have to do hard work. But the more you work hard at it, you are going to be doing the exercises. And this month, I plan to be more diligent. In other words, I'll try to send homework after every lesson to make sure that you are going to be applying what you are learning. The practice and skill is the most important thing about our time together. You guys improving in chess. Now, we started saying, are you happy with your level? And some of you are not happy with your level, some are happy, but all 3 of you want to go to the next level. So if you want to go to the next level in chess, practice and skill is the most important thing that you can do. The coaching is not enough. You need to work hard on chess on your own time without anyone standing next to you telling you do this, do that. When you make that decision to start working in your own time, you go to the next level, right? We have history to tell us this. The chess players that spend time playing serious chess games and are learning chess on their own are the ones that perform at a higher level than the players who just show up to training and then they watch Netflix the whole time when they're at home, or play Fortnite or whatever it is happens these days. The players that focus on practice and skill more than the lessons are the ones that will show good performances, and those players go to the next level. So this is an important thing to know right from the beginning. So I'll tell you at least some of the things I'm going to be expecting from you, what I look to see from you. Number one, hard work. If you want to be successful in chess, you must work hard. Chess is a very hard game. So if you don't work hard, you can't be surprised if things don't go well. So you need to be willing to work hard. Number two, you need to listen and be disciplined. When homework has been sent, and again, I apologize, last month I wasn't very diligent about sending homework. I wasn't sending it as much as I should. But this month, I plan to send homework after every lesson. So when the homework does come, if you have not received the homework 2 days after the lesson, send me a message to make sure that you receive your homework, and you must be willing to do the homework. Make time to do chess on your own. That's number three. Make time to do chess in your own time without you being in the lesson or any other coaching that you might be receiving or whatever it is. Make a decision to start working on chess in your own time. This is the most important thing that can help you to boost your chess tactics, as the name of this training says. All right, with that introduction, let's now get into the work as we begin. When we talk about tactics, we are talking about tools, right? Tools that help us to gain some sort of an advantage. So tools that, of course, the famous definition of tactics remains the number one. So we start with that. Tactics in chess is knowing how to. So strategy is knowing what you need to do. Tactics is knowing how you need to do something. So whenever tactics are involved, there is something that you need to do. So the tactics is knowing how. How do I win someone's queen? I win someone's queen by making a double attack, making a skewer, making a pin. So those are tactics. Tactics talk about the how to. How do you do these things, right? And another one for tactics that is important, they are tools. Tools that help you gain some kind of advantage. Now, as Bongo let you mentioned at some point, it can lead to winning material or even checkmate. So these definitions, the plan is to repeat them every time we're going to be doing these lessons. You must understand these two things importantly, right? Tactics is knowing how you need to do something. Tactics require work. You need to actually do some work on what you need to do in a position. They are tools that help you gain some kind of advantage. It can lead to winning material or even checkmate. So tactics, you can touch them, right? Tactics, you can touch them. So that's what, so it is important to know those very simple definitions. They are very important. They will help us. And then we are going to start working on the lesson. Is there any questions so far about the introduction and everything that has been said? Okay, someone unmuted and Ethan Masakana.
Get a recording on the meeting.
I think I'm recording the meeting. Am I?
Yeah, you are.
Oh yes, I am recording. Yes. What you should get out of, so is that your question, that I'm recording the meeting?
I wanted to know if you can send the recording of the meeting, if not also with the homework.
Okay, that is a good idea. Thanks. All right, so what you should get out of this lesson, number one, first of all, we will need to know some very basic things, then we'll go into a lesson. So number one, what are tactics? We have already done it so far, but we're going to see diagrams that show us some of these things. And then how can you find tactics? This is important. Know how to find tactics by asking these two important questions. So the first thing you need to ask for is king safety. And when you ask of king safety, you are looking at are both kings. You are looking at the safety of both kings. Are both kings really safe right now? This is important. And number two, on king safety, can the king be checked? Can both kings be checked? Can both kings be checked? Very important questions this. Now, why do you think king safety is very important when it comes to tactics? Anyone would like to answer that? Ethan.
So that you can see that your king is open, that you can see that your opponent's king is open. So you can now prepare a tactic of some sort.
Okay, very good. Well done. Kirsten.
It's important to see, king safety because you can, if the kings are not safe, then you can use a tactic and you can checkmate them or win material.
Correct. Okay. So the first and most important question is king safety. And another one that is important is, are they hanging pieces? So it is important to notice. Yeah, I'll mention this afterwards. Are they hanging pieces? Are they hanging pieces for both sides? Hanging pieces drop off. The meaning of a hanging piece is a piece that is not defended by its own pieces. And normally tactics happen when there are weaknesses, which is the next point I'll highlight here. Are they hanging pieces for both sides or pieces that are not defended enough times? Right? Are they hanging pieces for both sides or pieces that are not defended enough times? Very important, because tactics only happen when they are weaknesses. When they are weaknesses. This is very important. I must make this in capital letters. Very important, because tactics only happen when they are weaknesses. Now, this gives us an important thing. You can't just attack because you want to attack. If your opponent doesn't have any weaknesses in their position, your attack is not going to be successful. It won't work. You are going to get a bad position. Tactics only work when you attack from a stronger position, attacking a weaker position. But it cannot work if there is no weaknesses. And the two most important weaknesses that we'll learn, at least for today, are number one, king safety. Are both kings, so you ask two questions on king safety. Are both kings, must be an S, are both kings really safe right now? Number one, can both kings be checked? And you also ask, number two, are they hanging pieces for both sides? Or pieces that are not defended enough times? Because tactics only happen when they are weaknesses. And it makes sense, because if it is a tool that helps you gain a kind of advantage, you can't get an advantage when someone doesn't have a weakness. And you can't win material or checkmate when someone doesn't have a weakness. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now let us go to some examples of these things. But before we actually do that, let's start with this. I need to show you the whole issue of why, when you look for tactics, it is extremely important to look at the king safety. Very, very important. Ethan Mazakano.
Does the tactic have to be a forced move?
Yes, that is a good thing. Tactics most of the time must be forced moves, checks, captures, and threats. But because a tactic must always be a forcing move. If a tactic is not a check, it's not a capture, it's not a threat, then that maybe is more of a strategy move where you are preparing to attack. But tactics are a forcing number of moves that your opponent must respond. If they don't respond, they are going to be losing the game, which is also another definition I didn't throw here. This is another one that you also learn about when you watch videos on tactics or read books. Forcing number of moves. Number of moves, one after another. Okay, let's just say forcing number of moves, they happen one after another, right? Forcing number of moves, one after another, so it means they are happening one move after one move after one move. Forcing number of moves, one after another, that forces your, and the key word in tactics, very important, thank you for bringing it out, Ethan, that forces your opponent to respond. You agree, if your opponent gives you check, you must respond, because we know check means look at your king. When someone says check, they are telling you, hey, look at your king. So that is a forcing move. You need to respond to that move. If someone captures a piece, that gives them an advantage. You see here, losing material gives you a disadvantage, because if someone wins material, it gives them an advantage in the game. So you don't want to ignore someone capturing your pieces. And of course, checkmate, threats. A threat can be a threat to checkmate, a threat to capture a piece, and a threat to control an important file or a diagonal that will lead to some kind of advantage. So all these are the tools that tactics can be found in. But also another meaning, forcing number of moves, one after another, that forces your opponent to respond. Okay, does that answer the question, Ethan?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, now let us see this example of why king safety is important. So we said, when you look for tactics, you need to first figure out, how do you find tactics? How can you find tactics in your games? First ask this question, king safety. Are both kings really safe right now? Can both kings be checked? Now, this is a basic position. We can see right now are both kings really safe? So this is what I'm talking about. If your opponent has a pawn structure like this king is very weak because there is an open file that heads to it. So an opponent's rook can come here. The opponent's queen can come here and checkmate will happen on g2, right? So right now, the pawns are not broken up, but whenever the pawns are broken up, if your pawns in front of your king are not there, your king is weak. But even here, you will see now when we put pieces, more pieces on the board. The white king is a little bit weak because of the diagonal that has been opened by this pawn moving forward. The pawns in front of the king, when they move forward or when they get doubled, they create weaknesses. Because now we see the second question, can both kings be checked? White king can be checked on d4, right? And black king can be checked on the 8th rank. Black king is also a little bit weak. When we say, are both kings really safe? The reason why the black king is not really safe is that if they are no rooks on the if they don't have rooks or queens on their 8th rank, we can bring our rook down and deliver checkmate on the back row. So that brings us an important principle for you to learn. This is a bonus one, so listen carefully. Never move your rooks or your queen and without making a luft for your king. We call this a luft because the king can run out if the other pieces come down. So I'll take it up again. Never move your rooks or your queen from the 8th rank or the 1st rank without giving your king a luft. A luft means an open window. Give your king an open window to escape the back rank mate. So, very important thing to remember. So this is a basic position. You might be thinking, ah, this means nothing. Now let us see a few why these things are important. If both players were having some pieces on the board, just make a very simple position. Now, if it is black to play, notice what we were saying. Tactics happen when we look at king safety number 1. Are both kings really safe right now? Can both kings be checked? And we notice it here. Queen d4, check. Oh, what is this? Suddenly there are tactics on the chessboard. Because the king is not really safe. The pawn on f2 moved and allowed the queen, allowed the g1 to a7 diagonal to be weak when the opponent checks. So do you see from this very basic example why it is important to keep your king safe? I'm sure you have heard this before many times. King safety, king safety. But if you practice asking these two very simple questions, it will make more sense. Are both kings really safe right now? Can both kings be checked? So you can see from the diagram here that now this has costed white a whole rook. The king is not safe. The king has to move away. And now suddenly white is down a rook. And also the rook falls into the next category of weaknesses. Hanging pieces drop off. Don't allow your pieces. You must always make sure your pieces are supporting each other. Every time, make sure none of your pieces is not defended. Because hanging pieces drop off. Or even pieces that are not defended enough times. So this is one example to show the weakness of white when the pawn moves here. Now let us show the weakness of black if black forgets the idea of the luft, right? So we'll use the same diagram, but this time we'll make it a little bit more real to help us. So let's put a pawn here. And then we do this. And we go like this. Yeah, okay. Something like this should be fine. And black to play. Now, we asked the question earlier on, are both kings really safe right now? Can both kings be checked? Now, notice what will happen. If black plays carelessly, yes. Oh, this actually works out quite nicely. Let me just put the queen somewhere. Sorry. Anyways, just allow me to show this example. For instance, black could go here, forgetting that the queen can take. Don't worry about that. We just want to show a diagram. That don't move your rooks or your queens from the 8th rank without getting your king an open window, which is called in chess Luft. I'll spell it so you can remember it. Luft. So this means open window. Open window for the king to be able to escape if the major pieces, the king or the rook, moves away. Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. It won't work what I want to do. Let me set up another position. I was seeing things. Let's do another one. Let's say this is the position. Okay, this one for sure will work out what we need. Now, if black gets excited and then black just decides to attack white's queen with their rook, because you know some players just like to attack people's queens. And now what has happened? The 8th rank doesn't have a rook or a queen defending it. And as we have learned, do not move your rooks or your queen without making a luft, an open window for your king. Because now all of a sudden, the game is going to be losing big material when the opponent responds with rook check. This threatens checkmate in one move, and now the white queen is embarrassed. It has to go back and leave the rook undefended. After queen to c8, the opponent continues, rook takes check, king takes, and we have simply won a piece. We have won a queen for nothing. Black is losing. And as you can see, we said about tactics, they are forcing moves. A check was given, which says, look at your king. The queen has to block. And again, another check, look at your king. So all these moves were one move after another that forces your opponent to respond. Black didn't have time to ignore. Ethan?
Would even the best players be able to win the game like this?
You mean even the best player?
Would even the best player or players be able to win the game like this?
To win the game like this? How do you mean to win a game like this?
Like with the rook versus a rook and a queen.
No, yes, no, that wins actually. It wins. But even here it's worse. It's not just a rook and a queen. If you there's an extra rook also. Right? This is the problem. It's not just a rook and a queen. There is an extra rook for white. Do you see that?
Yeah, yes.
Right, but even if without this rook, this position is still winning. The queen and the rook wins. It's of course the end game is something you need to study and learn. But when there's more pawns, then there's no need to worry about that. White just makes another queen, and the rook is helpless. The position is completely winning. But it's even worse here because there's an extra rook. So does that answer the question?
Yes, there's also a mate in one. If black doesn't take their rook to e5.
Yes, there's a threat of queen e8 checkmate. Yeah, because the king is weak. So that is correct. And now it also shows why the luft must be made. Okay, now, do you at least maybe believe me a little bit on why I said tactics need these things to happen for them to work?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now let us get to our first tactic we are going to learn, which is Number two, the power of a double attack. So a double attack is the most important tactical tool. Because a double attack is not just an attack on two or more pieces. A double attack is an attack on two or more targets. You can make a lot of threats with a double attack, and a double attack involves many things. A double attack can involve a pin, it can involve a skewer, it can involve a remove the guard. All those things fall under double attack. The double attack is the most important tactical pattern to know. And we are going to start by covering that today. So let me just go to the page where we'll get some diagrams for you guys to solve, and we'll start to see if this introduction has boosted your ability to find tactics. Tactics is about seeing. You need to see certain things, and the things you need to see: king safety, hanging pieces, pieces that are not defended enough times. And nothing takes advantage of those things more than double attacks. So let's go to some diagrams, and then we can continue to work on these ideas more. Okay, so before we do go ahead, I want to give each one a chance to explain, what do you understand about a double attack? According to your own understanding, what is a double attack? Kirsten.
I think a double attack is a piece that is attacking two pieces or more, and also attacking weak squares.
Okay, thank you. Ethan Masikana.
When we are attacking two pieces at the same time.
Okay. Bongoletu, what do you understand by double attack?
I think a double attack is sort of an X-ray when you're attacking two pieces at the same time. Yes.
Okay. Now, this is the definition that many people have, because unfortunately, many players teach that a double attack is attacking two pieces at the same time. It's not true. It's not true. A double attack is an attack against two or more enemy targets. Now, you guys were with me last month, so this target thing won't be strange to you. When we learned that in the middle game, the most important thing to do is, number one, when your rooks are connected, stop and find targets to attack in the opponent's camp. Who remembers what are some targets that you can attack in the opponent's side of the board? Ethan Masikana.
The king and weak pawns.
The king and weak pawns, very good, well done. Kirtan.
The king, weak pawns, weak squares, and undefended pieces.
All right, very good, well done. Bongoletu, do you have others to add from there?
And weak squares.
Yeah, okay, weak squares has been said, but it's true. Weak squares is it's one of those weaknesses. Now, that's what you need to unlearn. So unlearn that old definition. Right now, take it out of your head and throw it away, because it will stop you from seeing what is important. And for me to prove it to you, I'm going to first give you an example. And now when you see, hopefully you understand why I'm telling you to unlearn that definition. It's not true. It's a fork is an attack on two or more pieces. A fork is not a double attack. A double attack is not a fork. A fork is a type of a double attack, but not a double attack itself. So that's just the difference. So when you read or hear videos, or even coaches saying a double attack is an attack on two or more pieces. Now, of course, I'm not telling you to fight with the coaches or to say bad things. Just be quiet and know what they mean is that it's a fork they're trying to say, not a double attack. Because a double attack is a form of a fork. And I'll show you some of these things so you can believe me. I'm not just some crazy guy who's talking a lot of nonsense, right? Some of these things I've learned them, so I'll share with you. Ethan. Yes, Ethan.
Coach,
Oh, hello, Elsie. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
I'm good, thanks. Okay, so let us continue. All right. In this position, it is white to move. How would you play in this position if you are playing with white pieces? Kirthen,
I'll play queen to d3
so why would you play queen to d3?
because it attacks bishop on d6 and also attacks h7, and if the king moves to f8, then it's checkmate on h8.
Correct. And this is an example of a double attack. A double attack is an attack against two or more enemy targets. A target can be the king is a target, a weak square is a target, a piece. You remember when we said how do you find tactics? Pieces that are not defended enough times. You see, the bishop on d6 is only defended once. So that means if suddenly two pieces attack it, the bishop is in danger. And that's basically how this bishop is a target. It falls under this one. Pieces that are not defended enough times. The queen is one. This is how basically you learn about attacking and defending. Count how many attackers and how many defenders. There are two attacking pieces and one piece defending. So now this is a target, and the second target is the king. Through h7, there's going to be a checkmate in two moves. So that's why it is important to understand that a double attack is not an attack on two or more pieces, but it is an attack against two or more enemy targets. You can make many threats when you use a double attack. A double attack can involve a skewer, it can involve a pin, it can involve a fork, it can involve removing the guard. So double attack is the most powerful tactical tool that you need to master. Is it a bit more clear now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let us see more examples so that we can really be satisfied. So I'll quickly. Okay, so this is another website where a lot of the training or exercises that are going to help you a lot will come from, especially for this topic of double attacks. Now, you notice I've already clicked it. I've been working on this myself. It is very, very useful to start a habit of working on this. I try to do it every day. Even if I've done it before, you can see when it's gray, it means you've done it already. I try to continue doing it every day. It will help you a lot to see tactics. Now you see what I was telling you earlier on. Tactics. Double attack as the most important tactical motif. Now, don't be afraid of the word motif. The word motif is the same as tools. It's the same as the word pattern. It's the same as the word idea. So all of them are just words to say a tactical ideas of motifs and all of that. It's the same thing. It's just things that you need to remember and know how to do them. Now, as you can see from what I was saying, a double attack involves more than just attacking two or more pieces, because that falls under the fork, right? But a double attack involves also, we have a decoy into a double attack, a pin, a skewer, chasing the defender. All of these fall as double attacks. So for now, we're going to start with very simple positions, very simple, because that is the best way to learn anything. Always start from the very simple until we go to the more difficult. So let us start with this position. It is the white's turn. How would you play here if you were playing with the white pieces? Bongo Letu?
I would play d6, check. So that
So-
if maybe queen takes and then knight to g5, or if sorry, e6. So that if the king takes, and then I can play knight to c5, Or if the queen takes, I can play knight to g5.
Correct. That is very correct. Well done. And this is a very powerful idea. Now you see e6 itself is a double attack. And what kind of double attack is it? It will be a fork. But now we make another double attack where we were winning the queen. And now, of course, the winning plan is to just take this pawn, and white is completely winning with 2 passed pawns. The same idea. Now you see what the computer is telling you there. It wanted us to calculate these lines before we even reached the end position, which shows us an important thing. When you calculate, don't just quickly calculate one move. Try to see more than one move, what will happen. The next example, white to play. Kirthan,
I'll play rook to f8 because it's check, and if the king takes, then you play knight to g6, and then you get the queen. But if the king moves somewhere, then you can also take the queen.
correct. And this is a very nice idea. Rook f8 check, and now the king must take. And we can now, you see, by the way, what I was saying, this is a double attack also. This is a skewer, which is a double attack, right? Okay, so there are 2 Ethan Mazakana, but I'm thinking one of them is Elsie. Elsie, what do you want to say?
No, this one is Ethan. The other one is else. I'm gonna change that one.
Okay,
At the moment, I'm not in my contact for now.
you said at the moment what?
I'm not going to be able to use the mic for a bit of some time.
Oh, that's fine. You can type in chat if you can't use the mic.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, we're almost coming to the end of the lesson. We've already done quite a bit. And now, but we're just starting with some very simple exercises. Okay, Elsie. Yes, Elsie, what do you want to say?
Sometimes you can do checkmate, and you got to be careful in chess games and tournaments.
That's very true. You must always be careful in chess games and tournaments. Okay, I'll give you one example for you to do, and I'll try to help you so that you can find it with me. And then you can go and continue playing. All right, so let's do an example here. Now, where must you put your knight here to attack the queen and the king? Where do you need to put the knight so it can attack the king and the queen? All right, so where must you put this knight here? Where must it go? Must it go here, 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 or must it go here to attack the queen and the king? Where must the knight go?
To here, to the night one.
To the knight one, here.
Mhm.
But okay, this one attacks the king, which is okay, good job. But where can it go so it can attack the queen and the king? It needs to go where it can attack the both pieces at the same time. Where must it go? And what is the name of the block that it must go to attack the king and the queen? Okay, let's try it again. So maybe the knight could go to e7 so that it attacks the king and the knight. So maybe e7. So which block must you go? Which block?
Pony. The pony.
No, you must name the block. What is the name of the block the knight must move to or must jump to so it can attack the king and queen?
E1.
Or not D1. Come, look, Elsie. If you are here, this is the block, isn't it? Now you are attacking the king and the queen. But okay, you get at least half a point for trying. You found knight f6. Okay, well done, Elsie. Good job. All right, so let me finish now with the boys. Thank you, Elsie. And you're very welcome. All right, so let us go to the next set. As we wrap up, we only have a few minutes. So Masikana. Ethan Masikana, your hand is raised. Did you type in chat or you said you can't use the... No, today we're not playing a tournament. No. There's no tournament today. Maybe we can plan for next time. Okay. So this one's again double attack. It's a rook hunt. How can you win this? What would you play here if you are playing with the white pieces? Kirtan.
I'll play queen to g1.
Queen to g1. Going back and making a forcing move. Hanging pieces drop off. The rook was hanging, it dropped off. Right. Okay. White to move. What would you play here if you are playing with the white pieces? Okay. Ethan Masikana. Your hand is raised, so what is the move? You can type it in chat. You said you can't use the mic for some reason. So just type the answer. Where must the white queen go to attack the two pieces? Okay, because of time. Ongoletu.
Queen to e8.
Queen to e8. Yeah, queen to e8. Check. Again, this is the, at least for nothing else, learn to not leave your pieces undefended. The rook falls again because it is undefended. Right. Ethan, if you are not going to speak, remove the hand, please. Oh, okay, your hand was left. Okay, that's fine. It's okay. So now here, it's again the same idea, hanging pieces drop off. So these ones I'll just do myself because of time. And we take up the rook again because we just want to show examples of why the things we started with are very important. Yet again, pieces that are not defended or hanging pieces drop off. And this is the main idea you are learning over and over again. Now, okay, this one I can give you a chance. White to move. What would you play here to win the black rook? Bongoletu.
Queen to g1.
Queen to g1. Now you see this is still a double attack because it attacks two or more targets at the same time. This is a pin and an absolute pin because the rook cannot move its pin to its king. And this causes us to win the rook. Again, the idea is very clever. Queen d7, collecting the rook. And this is one of the main ways for you to learn to play, to become good at tactics. Learn the same tactic over and over again. That's how your brain records these things. And now when you play your games, you see these tactics so quickly, much quicker than anyone else, because your brain has now made pictures of this. It now sees them every time you have that position. Because it is said, again, an idea of a skewer here, that an average chess grandmaster has memorized 20,000 tactical patterns. And a tactical pattern is a pin, is a skewer. All of them are ideas of winning material or checkmate. So memorize one of them at a time. This is the best way to become strong at seeing tactics and boosting your tactics. Okay, the last one, white to play. What would you play here? Kirtan?
Queen a1.
Queen A1, again, the idea of a skewer now, because the king is a stronger piece in front of a weaker piece, the rook is dropped. Same idea again, very nice. Queen to B8. Okay, and this again, very cute idea. Attacks from the side and wins the rook. So, okay, we'll finish with this set. Now we'll start with the easy ones. Now we'll start to have more pieces on. It's still easy, but now there's just more pieces. Okay, I'll give each one position to do before we make a summary of what we learned today. All right, so Ethan Masakana, if you are playing white, what would you play here?
I would play rook to E4.
Rook to E4. Now this is important so that I continue with my lesson earlier on. Tactics happen when the kings are not safe. The king is not really safe and it can be checked. Now this king is really not safe. Look how exposed it is in the center. The same with white's king, but the difference is black's king is stuck on the same file, or at least the point that connects with the queen. And now we make a double attack, which wins the game. Right? Of course, rook G1 wins. And so this is, I hope at least for nothing else today, you live with that main, very, very important lesson about king safety. Okay, Kirthan, what would you play here? Why to play?
I played rook takes F6.
All right, rook F6 is again. Now you see, we say tactics also happen when there are weaknesses. The knight on C6 is a weakness. It's a hanging piece. It's not defended. And the king is again very exposed. Look how exposed that king is. So tactics work mainly on these two things for now. For you to know that, if of course not that move. If you learn that, oh, you are going to see your tactics already even after this lesson. Your tactics will see a big jump. But of course, you must work hard. It's not enough to sit here 1 hour and think you are Magnus Carlsen. You need to work on these things. Okay, Bongoletu.
I think knight to D5 check.
Right, yes, correct. 95 check. But there's a clever little idea. The opponent attacks your rook. So what are you going to do now?
Knight takes F6.
Correct, right? Knight takes F6 because we don't really mind them taking our rook because the king and pawn endgame is losing. After takes, you are going to make a queen. The game is losing. The pawn will go and promote. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So before I let you guys go, let me hear from you. What at least two important things you have learned in today's lesson. Yes, Kirthan.
I've learned more about the tactics, and also I've learned double attack. And also the website that puzzles, what's the name of it?
Oh, I'll share the website with you, don't worry.
Okay.
Cool. All right, Bongo, let you.
I've learned a lot about tactics and double attacks, and also I didn't recognize the loft. I think so.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to at least push the H or the G pawn.
Correct.
So that you can open a window.
Yes, that's true. Well done. Good job. All right, Ethan.
I learned what really is the double attack, and instead of looking at your king, you should look at both kings.
Yes, very true. Good job. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much. And I hope that this is a good start for you and it will help you as you continue to work hard. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. As always, keep chasing. Bye-bye.